Do it here. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being here early. It's very lovely. My name is Neeta Ragoowansi, and I'm from New York, in the USA. And I'm the president of Women in Music, which is which is a nonprofit organization that was started in 1985. So we are celebrating our 30th anniversary. And we were founded with the mission to advance the awareness, education, cultivation, and support and recognition of women in the musical arts and industry. And so we are a membership organization that represents both the artist side of women in music as well as the business side. And we do have men who are members of Women in Music as well, because it takes two to tango. So we are an organization that primarily has been, historically anyway, active in the New York area and have been making efforts in these past years to expand into different areas of the United States as well as abroad, and hence our participation here in Brazil. We had met Luciana of ABMI, and she had expressed to us about a little bit about the environment and atmosphere of women here in the music industry in Brazil, and it seemed like a very a place where there are women who are active in the industry, but where there might be a need for a network and resources to come into this and to organize women in this industry here in this region to better help develop and cultivate the women's leadership, empowerment, and innovation that comes from women being involved in the industry. So I want to introduce, my folks just a little bit further than from the lovely bio you got, to let you know a little bit more about their involvement in our organization. All of the women up here are part of the board of directors of Women in Music, and so I'll do that, but then I'd like to actually have you all introduce yourselves. Since we don't have a huge group here, I'd love to find out who all of you are as well, so we can just get an idea on how to cater this discussion a little better. So over here to the far right, we have Liz Cimarelli. So Liz, in addition to being at Nielsen Music, is our co-chair of our fundraising committee, and gets to work on all kinds of wonderful things on sponsorship and grants, and really helping to find those strategic partners that help on the fundraising and donation side to help run the organization and help our expansion efforts. Similarly, we have Jessica Sobhraj, who, in addition to being at Rumblefish, is a co-chair of fundraising as well and helping us with those strategic partnerships. And then we have Jennifer Newman Sharpe, who is our vice president and general counsel of Women in Music, in addition to being a fabulous lawyer on the side. On the side. It seems like on the side, because Women in Music takes up so much of our time. So I'm an attorney as well, and have my hand in a few other things and consult. And so we all do this as volunteers. Women in Music has been for 30 years an all-volunteer organization of women who really, really want to work and make this happen in our industry. So if I may open this up and just get an idea before we dive into our discussion of who everyone is, I'd love to start right here, if I may, and just, do we want to do microphones? Yeah? Oh, you got it, she got it, okay.
My name's Katie Wallace. I worked 23 years for EMI Music Publishing. I got laid off when it was bought by Sony.
Yes.
And now I work for a small independent publisher, and I'm finding it quite very different. It's a bit of a struggle, mostly because publishers abroad, I don't know if it's because of the country situation, but it's very difficult to get sub-publishing. They all ask for advances, so it's not so much because I'm a woman. I think it's because they don't know us. They can't trust us. That's the difficulty I find.
Where are you based?
I'm sorry?
Where are you based? Are you here?
Here in Rio.
Oh, you are here in Rio. Okay.
Wonderful. And can you tell me, actually I'd love to know the name of the small publishing company and as well as your role there.
Well, I'm there as administration manager.
Okay.
I'm trying to generate business,
Sure.
but I'm finding it very difficult,
Sure.
very difficult.
Okay. Well, we'll talk more about that, but it's so nice
Okay.
to meet you. Thank you.
Nice meeting you
And
too.
if we may pass that way and we'll go there.
Good morning, Neeta. I'm Fernanda. I'm a lawyer and I have my own office. And I don't know, I don't have so many difficulties here, but I'm very interested in understanding and listening the other difficulty for everyone. That's why I'm here to...
How long have you been a lawyer? Approximately?
8 years.
Okay.
80 years.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think it's coming good.
Good. Thanks. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Nice
I mean, to
to
re-meet you. We know each
Again.
other.
Hello, my
Hi.
name is Flavia. I'm licensed manager at Warner Chappell. I work at Warner Chappell since 1998. I press to all for royalties, copyright department, sync, and now I'm responsible for all new business on the company and synchronization, commercial, cinema, print, independent, all the things.
Wonderful. Thanks. Thanks, Flavia.
My name is Georgia. I'm a singer and composer for almost 20 years. I'm part of the casting of an independent record label in Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. And I just have to say, first I talked to you, I think, yesterday, and I have to, just a big congratulations to all of you. You're a woman in this world is, at the beginning, just a struggle, and a big struggle, and in this business, I think it's stronger, and it's sometimes, or most of the time, real difficult. I would just like to hear about your experience in this business as women, and with the work with the female artists.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Women in production. Bom dia.
We'll come back.
I'll speak in English, I guess, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm Tracy Mann, and I'm an independent consultant. I've had my own consultancy for almost 20 years, over 20 years in New York. My primary client is a conference and events organization based in Austin, Texas, called South by Southwest, which is very active in the music industry in the United States worldwide. And it's nice to be here with all of you and hear what you're working on.
Can I ask an idea about how long you've been working in the business, if I may? Thank you. Understood.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Mariana Benevides. I'm an intern at the label. I have to say the name of the label?
Yeah.
Sorry, Dactisk. It's an independent label here in Brazil, based in Rio. I work under New Media there. And so obviously I'm very new to this world, to this business, but I'm very interested in the subject of women in music as a whole, because in spite of my recent entering this world very recently, I can already tell that it's still a really male-based, dominated world, and like every other business like this, it's not really a just space for women to express themselves and to assert themselves. So yeah, I'm here for, and it's also the subject of my final thesis, subject as a whole. So I'm here for more personal interest and academic researches, and just hopefully trying to help with the project.
Bom dia, eu sou Érica. eu trabalho com agenciamento artístico e também com produção de shows e eventos, principalmente eventos na rua. E geralmente é muito difícil trabalhar num ambiente masculino, dominado, né, pelo ambiente masculino. E agora eu trabalho na Casa de Fulô Produções, trabalho com produção há 6, 7 anos. Sou nova ainda no mercado e quero ampliar o meu conhecimento.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Monica Mota. I'm a lawyer, and I advise a few events and artists in Brazil. I also run a small label and publishing company, independent one, and I am also legal counsel for SFX Entertainment for South America. We do events like Tomorrowland, Brazil, and other big electronic music events.
Great, thank you. Meet you, Monica. Go that way.
Meu nome é Marília Santana, trabalho no Sobhraj na área de economia criativa e no projeto Strombo, que é um projeto para o desenvolvimento de novos modelos de negócios e canais de distribuição da indústria musical do Rio de Janeiro.
She's one of the responsibles for this event be happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I'm Luciana. I'm the head of ABMI, Independent Music Association. I want to congratulate you guys to be putting together women in music. We know how hard it is to run an association. And this business is man-driven. So I'm part of the Merlin board together with Eric here. And we are 20 people. I'm the only women. And Alison, which is the head of WIM and other associations. So I think we women are very good on running associations.
Yes, among many other fabulous things. Yes. Thank you, Luciana. Eric?
I'm Eric Gilbert from the Cooking Vinyl Group, and I'm here to be supportive.
Thank you, Eric. And can we go back to that gentleman there?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Fabio Neves. I'm an independent musician and the owner of Pinho Brazil. Is a new organization. We work with cultural producer, shows, meetings, and other things. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is she just coming in? Is she coming in? Do you want to grab her? Excuse me.
Bom dia, meu nome é Josi Macedo. Eu sou produtora de uma banda chamada Vendo Meu Sofá Vermelho. E eu estou aqui para assistir vocês, fazer contatos. Estou gostando muito do evento, estou aqui desde o primeiro dia. Já conheci muitas pessoas. Me atrasei um pouco, mas é isso. Estou para o resto do dia aqui.
Thank you. Obrigada.
Obrigada a vocês.
Just tell us.
Oi, bom dia. Meu nome é Ana Camila. Eu sou... tem que falar inglês? Não, né? Tá. Eu sou produtora, sou jornalista. Eu moro em Salvador, que é uma cidade do Nordeste aqui, do país. E eu trabalho basicamente com música. Na verdade, eu vim atraída pelo nome, né? Women in Music. Eu com certeza sou uma dessas mulheres.
Exactly. Thank you. One more. We were just introducing ourselves. If you wouldn't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Just one or two sentences of name, who you are.
I'm Laura from Argentina. I work in the Latin Grammys and in the Orchard. And I'm in the music business for 25 years.
There you go. Thank you. Nice to see you. Yeah? Okay, so thank you. This is good. Now we have a sense of who we all are in the room. And I think we have, you know, everyone from sort of junior delegates of the music industry to senior delegates of the music industry, and women who are emerging leaders perhaps, and women who are leaders, which is amazing. I love to have that diversity so that this conversation can, you know, be a little bit more well-rounded. There's oh gosh, there's so many things that we wanted to talk about, but let's see. There's this idea of, I guess we wanted to really open it up for discussion, so this microphone is going to keep going around, I think. Is it handy? I guess, is it around that we, oh, you just put it back here, okay. Because we want to get feedback and understand, you know, how we can sort of help the industry here in Brazil and the women in Brazil to work well. I mean, you know, one of the things we found, I'll just give you examples of what has been working in New York and in the United States for women in music, and this organization and how it's been able to provide some sort of resources. We have a Google group. When one becomes a member of Women in Music, one of the first things is they are added to a Google group. And that group allows everyone to email each other on a daily basis and ask questions to be connected. If somebody says, hey, I need a connection in branding at Coca-Cola, they send that question out to the group, and other women, members, want to, men as well as women who are members of Women in Music, direct reply to that person, and they help and they respond and they help connect them to that resource. If people have questions about a particular issue or idea, they ask and they get answers. And it's been a great resource for people. We have members who have said that they've found their best friend, their roommate, their husband, their job at Warner, their, you know, sort of like everything, all from Women in Music and its Google group. So, so it's become a very, you know, useful resource to people. That's one example for, you know, that is just sort of immediate and is something that where there's no boundaries to it, that everybody can sort of be involved and help each other. And why we really love to come internationally is because we all need to find business opportunities from each other to help empower ourselves and help get ourselves ahead in the music industry. And I love that network where we can start to say, hey, you know, there are artists here, for example, who want to play in the US. There are US promoters and programmers who want to bring bands here. And so just on the booking side of things, it's great to be able to start to get to know each other online and trade those resources. There's licensing opportunities, there's marketing ideas, there's the ability to enter into social media groups and experiences abroad where you might be trying to cultivate an audience for an artist that you're working with or an artist that you are, and being able to maybe tap into some new groups there. So, and the Google group itself being a marketing resource actually for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women in the music industry and some of the men as well. So I wanted to sort of get that idea from you all of things that you think would help. Well, I'm just going to say one other thing, which is one of the other things we do is that we do panels, educational panels, as we've seen here at this conference, and on a variety of topics, everything from sort of social media and touring and licensing to raising capital and private equity to understand how to tap into funding resources if you're an entrepreneur and you want to help build your business and find the financing and the resources for that. Gosh, what are some of the other topics, gals? Educational topics and things that we provide and add.
And so in addition to the panels, we cover everything from every facet of the industry at all levels. So if you're running your own business, there's things about how to do HR, payroll, raising capital, how you should go about looking for insurance. If you're an artist, it's about touring, merchandising, licensing, how to do it yourself, distribution deals. And really, if you're a mom, there is a Moms in Music panel that we do every single year. I know, it's funny, but it's like, I'm not a mom yet, but I'm about to get married, and it's something I think about all the time, and I'm sure you all do too. How do you go about career and having a baby at the same time? So there are all these little things within Women in Music that we try to cover, but I think the biggest thing outside of the educational stuff is just the moral support that we get from our group. It's such a supportive community, and sometimes we have people just say, hey, I'm having a really tough time, not even just on the business side, but I want to know how to navigate a specific issue. Help me do that. And the response from our group is incredible. Yeah.
Did you want to add? Yeah.
Well, a couple points. First, I mean, I think you touched on it generally, but not specifically, is that a lot of our events are not gender specific. Most of our events, in fact. Is it not on? Is it not? Sorry. Okay, so what I was saying is that, so with these educational panels and other events, a lot of them, in fact, I think most of them, are not gender specific. So we do have a Moms in Music panel, and we offer support to our female and male members, but a lot of them are just about general industry topics that are important for both men and women, because we do feel that, and then it's an important issue to talk about, and especially at conferences, so at South by Southwest, at MEDEM, at New Music Seminar, we have events like this where there are discussions about the issues that we face specifically as women, but many of our events and our value is just generally about the music industry. And one other thing that we do, which I don't know if you were about to touch on, but in addition to educational panels, something that I think is very valuable are the networking opportunities that our members have with one another. So we have large parties, from a holiday party with over 1,000 people in attendance to small brunches on the weekend where 15 or 20 people will get together and talk, sometimes on a specific discussion, but sometimes just to enjoy each other's company and meet other people in the industry.
Thank you. Yeah, and I wanted to mention, I mean, going back to the educational panels that are gender specific, besides Moms in Music, what we've done sort of at the conferences, such as at South by Southwest, is have discussions on topics about why there are not more female leaders in the music industry and how to change that. That's a very huge focus for our organization, because if we look at the stats in the United States, Billboard magazine does a survey of what they list as their power players in the music industry, and they name their top 100 power players. And if you count, there's probably around 12 or so women on that list, which is the national US average for, it is about 12% of women in senior management across all industries in the United States, but there's 51% of the population is women in the United States, so that just seems odd and wrong, and it seems like there should be a larger number of women in leadership in all industries, and we have the same problem, obviously, in the music industry. Globally, the Billboard Power Players list has their top 50 international power players and has around 3 or 4 women listed. So again, it's that same issue of a very low percentage. So we do have some numbers. We need more studies to be done to really give us some proper statistics in the music industry. Other industries have done it. Hopefully I'm talking to some academic folks at universities about diving into those in their women's studies departments and that sort of thing. But anyhow, so empowering women and really understanding why we have leadership issues. And you know, there is the issue of women who work in the music industry in their 20s and into their 30s, but then we do see a lot of women, just anecdotally, we see women in their stories as we meet them leaving the music industry when they go to be parents. And they say, oh, they choose one or the other. And so that's why we feel that women in the Moms in Music panel is important, because we put 4 or 5 vice presidents of major music companies up there and say, look, they did it, you can too. And some are single moms, you know, and some have gone through fertility issues and all of that, and we put it all up there and we talk about it. And it's a really important subject that really resonates for so many women and makes them go, wait, I can do this too. That inspiring thing about digging into the details and saying, okay, I can have a work-life balance. I can, in fact, I can decide that I am going to go for that promotion. I do want to become more than a manager. I want to be a director. I want to be a vice president. I want to be a CEO, because I can do this and have children at the same time is a hugely important thing, because we're seeing it all over the place. Women who leave right at that moment that they're ready to jump to the leadership position. Yes. Oh.
Neeta, para dar o meu depoimento, eu concordo plenamente com o que você está dizendo, porque eu pari um filho e um escritório ao mesmo tempo. A gente faz essas loucuras. Eu acho que a maternidade mexe muito com os hormônios e a gente faz essas coisas doidas, mas eu só quero dar aqui meu depoimento de que deu certo. E que em nenhum momento, nenhum dos dois lados ficou menor. Né? Eu criei 2 babies ao mesmo tempo. E eu não sei se é o momento, mas eu já queria fazer a minha pergunta de se vocês pensam em ter algum representante aqui no Rio, por conta desses eventos. O momento hoje do Brasil não é o melhor para que a gente possa ir a todos os eventos nos Estados Unidos, infelizmente.
Yeah. So she was saying that that she actually started her law firm and had her baby at the same time, and so she was growing 2 babies simultaneously, and that she was able to do it. And but the question I was unclear about. Yeah. Yeah, how can something get going? I was telling them because they don't know what headset. Probably, yeah. Thank you. Should I wait? There's no one in the booth. The Wizard of Oz. But I can, is anyone wearing headphones? It's fine anyway. Oh, right. So, okay, I'll keep summarizing. Thank you anyway. So, that is in fact our goal and our purpose here, is to actually inspire you, those of you who are here in Brazil and live here, to be those emerging leaders, to start a chapter here, and to start having those kinds of panels and engaging in those discussions and having those networking events here as well, to really cultivate the environment here to meet each other. What we've done in the United States is similar in that we've just gone into Boston and into Nashville and into Washington, D.C., and planted the seeds of finding women who want to be the leaders as we are and volunteer their time to putting on some programming, basically, even if it's once every 3 months, and it's 4 times a year, just to get started. At least it's something. And that we're here to be able to provide the infrastructure so that if you wanted to, so that we have the sort of the membership, the website, the membership, the calendar, we sort of have everything organized that you can then feed into, our website and advertise, and everybody can, go to our website and look at RIO and click on that and then find out the events that you're doing and get the information that they need, as well as help to post news items and articles that can go to our website and our social media platforms, and that we can engage in a global discussion, but event-wise have your local discussion. So, we're here to provide an umbrella, but we want you to start a chapter, a department here, Yeah.
And just...
Yes. Oh. Sorry. Here, you got it? give you ours. Hold that thought.
Ah, bom? Ah, funcionou. Okay, we're good. We're back. I'm just thinking as you're speaking how it would be so interesting to see if maybe there were at least 1 or 2 events to try to live stream into a group of, if one of you were hosting in your office, which is also, I might add, a great way to build your own business. If you have instead of being part of a big corporation, you're part of client, you have client base or whatever, to host the event in your space and connect with women in music in New York to try to do it for 1 event or 2 events. It gives you some of the flavor of the conversation and the access to the contacts that are in New York without having to travel and without any great expense.
Absolutely, love that idea. That's a great idea. And in fact, we are working on live streaming our events from New York, and it's really, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So we definitely are looking into live streaming the events, but even beyond that, I think what we really want to do is start a larger global conversation, because there's an amazing group of women here in Brazil. You're all part of it. We've met some amazing women, Luciana, and everybody's been fantastic. But beyond Brazil, there's a WIM Canada happening with 600 women. There's a WIM UK happening with 300 women. There's a WIM Spain and a WIM everywhere. And
There's a WIM Asia
there's
that's
a WIM
being
Asia.
built.
And so
Singapore.
for us, I think we want to be able to connect all of these chapters together. And imagine an amazing world where each individual chapter is live streaming a different event that could pertain to, tens of thousands of women, and that tens of thousands of women around the world can access that network. So if you're trying to tour in Canada, maybe WIM Canada can help out and secure some government funds to get Brazilian artists out there, because that's a real program that exists. Just no one knows about it, and that's, I think, what we really want to try to fix.
Canada, really? I'm joking.
Yeah, grants are amazing. When I'm ready to have that baby, they'll probably pay for it.
Jessica's from Canada, so you will hear her speak about Canada often.
Quite a bit. I'll try not to say a or a boot or things like that.
So, no, thank you. That's a great suggestion. And in fact, that is also a great way to market out there, as you said, your particular skill set to a community, whether you have a law firm or a company that needs to expand their market. So that's wonderful. Were you guys mentioning, I'm trying to remember where we were in that. Okay. So anyway, I guess we were just talking about other things that women in music provide, and then because I wanted to get those sort of ideas. Were you about to say something, or was Liz?
Just a quick reaction that a more immediate solution is also to join in the Google group. So you're going to have all these networks to us in New York and all over the place. We have people in Boston and Florida that join as well. So if you do have any questions about anywhere, but specifically to the US, you have access to that Google group. So just for more an immediate solution.
Right. So does anyone have any sort of, in that idea of starting that Brazilian chapter of Women in Music, we'd like it to just happen immediately. So to that extent, I want to make sure that after this, that you could raise your hands now, or we could just after this, come up to me or any of us and give us your name or your card, so that we can, if you're interested in being part of that leadership of really helping to maybe just think of it as being part of an events committee for now, and start organically, where we can just say, okay, I want to help put on a networking event or an educational panel. Then we can start to work together and figure out the particulars of that. But we can just start organically and without a lot of pressure. If you're busy and you feel like you don't have time, but you have enough time to give to helping put one event together, even to just go ahead and say, yes, I want to do this, or I have a company and we have an office and we'd love to be the spot to host a cocktail party. If you can bring in some sponsors to help pay for it or something, we can work together to possibly help with that. But we just need those folks who are willing to roll up their sleeves and start helping and working. And as we do that, it will happen as it's happened in New York. It will grow into this huge, vibrant community of women helping women, men who are also in our community are helping. To, again, the goals being really to inspire us and help us to get towards more leadership positions. Knowledge is power, which is why it is so important to constantly make sure that we are well educated as a community in all of the areas, which is why educational panels are just, premier to us.
Can I say something about,
yes.
so just to be specific about next steps with forming these events, because they actually don't have to be huge productions, big scale. It can be as simple as finding a local bar that will give a discount on drinks for a night and telling everyone that you know, we're meeting here from 5 to 7, and we're having we call it happy hour, you know, an after work drinks or networking event. It can be at someone's office where it's even a discussion or a panel, but it doesn't have to be at a scale like this or something that's overwhelming to put together. It can start small, and it actually doesn't necessarily take much time. There are often local companies that are very interested in sponsoring and donating food, beverages, materials, giving us a brief presentation. Just so it doesn't have to be an overwhelming thing. And we've found in our new chapters that are forming, sometimes it does start at that very small level, connecting with the women that you do know and telling them to bring 2 friends that they know in music, and slowly expanding your network here.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, one of the other things when I talked about a big mission for the organization overall is to inspire leadership and really dig in and understand the why and how do we solve it. The other thing is one of the solutions we have found, which brings its own subject on, has been entrepreneurship. Women starting their own businesses has been a solution to a lot of that work-life balance issue that we've found. A lot of times women's challenges about leadership have been, as I said, either they leave at an age right when they're ready to get to the next level in their, say, their office jobs, but also because whatever the environment is, whether it's on the artist side or whether it's on the business side, they have found that the rules don't work for women, that there is a male-dominated, a male-created set of rules that doesn't seem to sit well with sort of the feminine spirit, we'll call it. It comes in various forms, and it's hard to get into all the details of sort of what that is right now, but what that meant was we have to find a way to just change the rules, and starting our own businesses where we can create our own set of rules has been really that great solution. And women who have done it, who have said, you know, I'll create office hours that look like this instead of the way it's always been done, so that I have time to pick up a child from school or take them to daycare or what have you. That becomes great, and it can change the feeling and the environment in a corporate society. In an artist society, it is about the same kind of thing, about creating an environment in a recording studio, or the way that things can work on the road, that a record label perhaps that's in a corporate scenario may not have been able to provide that environment, but in an independent label run by all women, they could create that scenario for a female artist. There's been various solutions I've seen and found in the years anyway, or at least a supportive environment, again, that moral support, where female artists are getting a support from a female-owned record label, has sort of been another great solution. So I want you to keep that in mind as you're thinking about panels and discussions here in your own community, is to think about entrepreneurship and how to put some women that have started their own businesses up on a stage and have them talk about their experiences. I mean, I know that some of you had said to me earlier, and then also just here, someone had mentioned when we were doing the introductions, that you wanted to sort of hear a little bit of our stories on how we've done it, and I don't know if you guys feel comfortable right now to talk about anything, but no, not you can. About, you know, just very quickly, I guess the question here would be, and it's just to be super quick, about have you had a challenge that you think has been gender related? And you can say no, because each of us have our own stories and reasons for being involved in women in music, and if so, have you overcome it? How are you meeting those challenges?
So currently, I actually don't feel like a struggle at Nielsen. My boss is a female, a very intelligent, strong female. So I'm very lucky to have had that. In previous jobs, I have felt struggles, more so to be taken seriously. That's probably been one of the biggest struggles, is meeting a lot of men in the industry. They might want to have a chat and have a talk and maybe have a date. So in that regards, I actually did feel a little bit of a struggle to be taken seriously and to be taken as a business person. And you know, instead when you're 25, people might want to chat and have a drink. I see a lot of heads shaking. So that is probably one of my biggest struggles.
And any way of overcoming or how you found that you were able to deal with it? Solution or not?
Yeah, you know, you have to be polite always. You know, it's a struggle of like that thin line of being polite but being stern. I think I've developed that over the years. In the beginning, it was kind of a little more tough. But I think people can respect that once you put your foot down and make it known that you are a business person and you're there for business and you are serious and to be taken seriously. But yeah, it is a struggle, and I see a lot of you shaking your head, so I know you know what I mean.
Yes, sometimes I too have found myself on the meeting that turned into a dinner date. And you're kind of just like, oh, we're on a date now? No, that's not what I want. But for me, it was a little bit different. My backstory is that I started my own company when I was 18. And so for me, the challenge was, one, being taken seriously, two, being taken seriously as a woman, three, a really small, itty-bitty young woman, and then four, also being a minority, because there aren't that many, you know, women of Indian descent in the U.S. in the music industry. At least 10 years ago, it was just me and Neeta, and we were hanging out all the time. That's it. But I think the key to overcoming all of those challenges is to just persevere. You keep going. When I was raising money for my company, I was the only woman in the room most of the time. The people I was always pitching to, they were always men. It would be me and then a huge long table of just men, and I kept seeing that pattern over and over and over again, and it's really depressing, but you've just got to keep your head up, you've got to keep going. And I think too, it's a good practice to just keep integrity at the forefront of your mind. You're going to be in situations where you find yourself on a date and, you know, someone might say something very seedy and very inappropriate to you. There's a lot of ways you can deal with that, but at the end of the day, just be true to yourself and make sure that you act within your comfort zone and your rules.
So I started my own law firm almost 5 years ago, and there are some excellent female attorneys in the U.S., but it is very much, at least in my experience, a male-dominated facet of our industry, particularly older men. And I have found, especially early on, there were a number of times in negotiations where I felt like I wasn't being taken seriously, or rather I was being put down because I was a young woman. They would call me honey, or, you know, in a negotiation say, oh, sweetie, no, it's okay. And I mean, it happened once, and I remember Neeta actually connected me after this call, this negotiation, with a senior female litigator who was like a very strong woman. And because I felt so insecure, and I told her my position in the negotiation, and she said, you are right, he is wrong, and you are 100% correct. And I had stuck to my guns, I had held strong with it. And I found that throughout my experience, that's really the only way to get through it for me is to continue to do the best work, and to know that my work is of excellent quality and often better than older men that may think, oh, I know everything. And so I know more than you because you're young or you're a woman. So I found that just by being very true to your work, whatever it is, whether as an artist or a producer or a businesswoman, I end up, you know, their clients come to me next time, you know, so I'll get more opportunities through that. And it's just to touch on one point that, as in this example, what got me through it was speaking to someone that was very senior and that had already gone through that. And I think that mentorship.
You're not me.
No, I was talking about Stephanie Adwar.
Like very senior. She's the same age as me.
No, you connected me with Stephanie Adwar, who was...
But she is the same age as me.
Right, well, no, but 20, 30 years experience in the music industry where I have 10 or 15. But mentorship is very important. And I mean, even where I am now, I am constantly mentoring women and attorneys that are younger than me, or artists that I work with, even as clients, I'll mentor them. But I still seek mentorship from women that have more experience. And at the same level, too, you can help one another. And I think it's very important to take the time to give back to other women, and also to ask when you need kind of that vote of confidence from women that have experienced it also.
Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up, because mentorship, yeah, it's absolutely, it's so key to sort of what we do and helping in our network and in our society. And it's interesting because, you know, it's always been that mentorship is looked at as a senior person helping a younger person. And something that I've definitely started up with a bunch of my peers, and we're in our late 40s and early 50s, has been mentoring by finding a younger person. Because in the music business, to stay relevant, a lot of times you need to know what the kids are doing. And we start to feel like we lose touch a little bit when we get older and get removed from sort of the bar scene, the party scene, the band scene, because we don't go out as much or whatever. And, you know, it's interesting because we had a speed networking event, was it, I think? Yeah, or something, a couple of months ago, and a couple of my older female members had, you know, said, I'm going to this event, and I said, great, you know, and I said, you know, don't just go and mentor. I said, go find your mentor and make sure she's 20 years younger than you. And I got emails from them, and they said, I found my mentor, she's doing social media, blah, 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 you know, whatever. And I'm like, awesome, you know, because that is part of it, is we forget that we have to learn when we get older as well from the young ones. And so it is just a really great thing. And just to talk about challenge, I mean, you know, my challenge had also been very similar to sort of what Liz was saying, what Jen was saying about being taken seriously, definitely in the younger part of my career. But what I found was that whole thing about knowledge is power, and that my solution had been about being an expert in a particular niche area. I think, you know, actually if you read leadership books, they always talk about that. To be a true leader is to be an expert at something, because people will respect you and take you seriously if you know this one thing really well. They'll always come to you for that. And so to really educate yourselves in that one thing, pick that one. It's not about saying I love social media, but like understand that, you know, how exactly to utilize one particular, you know, piece of software that is just super helpful in the social media world, or how to, you know, in licensing, it's not just about knowing licensing, it's about, you know, how to do highly complicated digital streaming deals for, you know, digital streaming services in this particular market, and, you know, understanding that terrain completely. And, you know, maybe you won't know a thing about sync licensing, maybe you won't understand, you know, other things, but you'll know your little world. And so, anyway, that was sort of how I had found constantly being the one that everyone went to at a company, and finding myself growing within my company and my various companies, is, you know, having that area of expertise.
One
Yes.
thing, Neeta, you mentioned something about books or reading, and one book that I think we all would highly recommend up here, I just want to say before because I feel like we're closing soon, is, if you haven't yet read it, Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In. I don't know if anyone in here has heard about this book or read it.
It's L-E-A-N, lean.
Like lean.
In, I-N. And I don't know if there's a translated version, there should be, because it was a huge bestseller in the United States like 2 years ago or so. You want to keep describing it though? Yeah? So Sheryl Sandberg is at Facebook, right? She's still there? COO of Facebook. And she talks about her challenges. I mean, gosh, she talks about a lot, but she talks about go ahead, do you want to actually describe it?
So Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Facebook, she's also one of the investors in this great platform called Levo League, which is all about mentoring, and you all can go to levoleague.com or levo.com and find a mentor on there as well, levo.com. So the premise of the book really is about taking your seat at the table. It's about owning who you are as a person and a woman, and not being afraid to take challenges, and not being afraid to raise your hand and to speak your opinion. When Sheryl talks about sitting at the table, kind of like me, she found herself at a table full of men, and two of her female associates were just sitting on the side, not joining the rest of the group because they were women. They felt like, let's leave the business to the men, we'll just hang out on the side there. And Cheryl said, no, I'm going to take my seat at the head of this table. I'm going to negotiate. I'm going to be, I don't want to use a bad word, I'm going to be like the really strong, independent woman that I am, and I'm going to own this. So I think the fact that all of you are here sitting right now, you're taking your seat at the table, and you're owning it. It's a good start.
And the title of the book is that she was saying we should lean in at that table and not sit back. So that was sort of where it came from. Yeah, are we at a time? Is it time? Because I had wanted to, oh, no time? Okay, so